In a country known for its color, rhythm, and carnival heartbeat, few names resound with the reverence reserved for David Michael Rudder. Call him what you will, singer, poet, griot, prophet, but to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, he is a living archive of their story, an ambassador of sound and spirit, the Honorable David Rudder. OCC is more than a calypsonian. He is a nation's echo. But how did a shy boy from Belmont become the poet laureate of the people, weaving anthems from ashes, turning street corners into stages, and transforming soca and calypso into instruments of political consciousness? To understand Rudder is to listen closely, not just to his music, but to the truths he wrapped in melody. From Belmont to the world, David Michael Rudder was born on May 6, 1953, in Belmont, Port of Spain. Belmont is a neighborhood layered with culture and contradiction, a place where steel pan rhythms collide with political debate and where children play in the shadow of revolutionaries and musicians alike. Raised by his grandmother after losing his mother at an early age, Rudder was steeped in discipline, love, and old-school values. He sang in the church choir and, from an early age, showed a gift for storytelling through song. But young David wasn't merely another boy with a nice voice. He absorbed the world like a sponge. His heroes weren't just calypsonians, but orators, steel pan arrangers, and cricket legends. Trinidad wasn't just his homeland, it was his canvas. Before he was a star, Rudder worked as an accounts clerk and graphic designer, quietly building the life expected of him. But he couldn't shake the music. In the 1970s, he began singing backup for the legendary Lord Kitchener, one of the greatest calypsonians of all time. Then he joined Charlie's Roots, a groundbreaking band that redefined Trinidadian music by blending traditional soca with Afro-Caribbean influences and live instrumentation. It was here that Rudder's voice began to rise above the chorus. And then, 1986 happened. 1986, the year calypso crowned a new king. In 1986, Trinidad and Tobago stood on the edge of political change. The ruling People's National Movement, PNM, which had held power since independence, was challenged and eventually defeated by the National Alliance for Reconstruction, NAR. It was a time of hope, uncertainty, and redefinition. Into this volatile cultural climate walked David Rudder, with a voice like gravel dipped in honey, with lyrics that sounded like folk tales but cut like satire, and with a stage presence that mixed preacher and pan man. He released The Hammer, a tribute to the legendary pan arranger Rudolph Charles, and it rocked the carnival season. The song was more than just a tribute, it was a eulogy, an anthem, a political statement wrapped in rhythm. This is not just a man who died, it's a man who made the pan a pride. Then came Bahia Girl, a sensual, aching celebration of diasporic womanhood, and Rally Round the West Indies, which became the de facto anthem for Caribbean cricket, calling on a fragmented region to remember its unity. Rudder didn't just win the Road March or the Calypso Monarch that year. He became the voice of Trinidadian identity. A new king had been crowned, not by decree, but by the roar of the people. Beyond the stage, the philosopher Calpasonian. What separates Rudder from many of his contemporaries is not just his talent, but his range. His music dances from the political to the spiritual, from the sensual to the philosophical. One moment he's chastising corrupt politicians, the next he's narrating the spiritual possession of a Shango priest. In Madman's Rant, Rudder channels the voice of the madman on the street, a figure Trinidadians often ignore, but who speaks an uncomfortable truth. The madman ranting in the street, saying things you can't repeat, but deep inside you know he right. He turned this figure, normally cast aside, into a prophet. And in doing so, he reminded his listeners that truth often comes dressed in rags. Another standout is Engine Room, an ode to the heart of the steel band, the percussionists who keep the rhythm alive during carnival. While everyone else celebrates the beauty of mass costumes and melodies, Rudder focuses on the unseen laborers who fuel the festivity. His eye was always on the overlooked, but his greatest strength? Layering meaning. You can dance to a David Rudder song and not even realize it's critiquing post-colonialism. You can sing along and only later feel the ache of a nation searching for its soul. The global messenger of the Caribbean, Rudder's impact didn't stop at the shores of Trinidad. As calypso and soca began to gain traction globally, Rudder became a cultural envoy. He toured internationally from London to Lagos, from Toronto to Tokyo. His concerts were more than musical shows. They were seminars in Caribbean culture. Songs like Haiti, Haiti, I Am Sorry, offered a sobering look at the political and economic struggles of the First Black Republic. He sang of Haitian resilience and tragedy, bridging the islands with a single melody. The song struck a nerve and became one of his most beloved pieces, especially in the wider Caribbean diaspora. He reminded listeners that Caribbean identity is more than carnival. It's struggle, resistance, spirit, and survival. In this way, Rudder became both mirror and megaphone, reflecting the Caribbean back to itself and projecting its beauty to the world. Legacy, honors, and the OCC title. David Rudder's contributions have not gone unrecognized. He has received numerous awards, including the Order of the Caribbean Community, OCC, the highest honor bestowed by CARICOM. This title is not lightly given. Only a handful of Caribbean citizens have received it, and each one represents the best of the region. In 2022, Rudder announced that he had been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Fans were stunned, and the region mourned the gradual dimming of one of its brightest lights. But Rudder, always the performer, didn't fade away quietly. Instead, he gave one last powerful concert, the final curtain, at Queen's Hall in Port of Spain. It was not a goodbye, it was a benediction. More than music, a cultural compass. Ask anyone in Trinidad and Tobago about David Rudder, and you'll hear stories. Some recall his voice booming from loudspeakers during Carnival. Others remember the tears his song Haiti brought to their eyes. Still others speak of the way his lyrics made them think, about race, history, poverty, and pride. He sang to the broken and the beautiful. He gave voice to the voiceless. And he reminded Trinidadians, and by extension, the world, that calypso was never just party music. It was protest. It was prayer. It was philosophy. If Sparrow was the king of calypso, and Kitchener its general, then Rudder was the spirit, the voice in the wilderness who connected the old gods to the new rhythms. He didn't simply entertain, he educated. He didn't chase fame, he chased truth. The final verse, but not the end. Even now, Rudder's songs ripple through the Caribbean like whispered scripture. His lyrics are taught in schools, studied by academics, and played at every cultural milestone. The Calypsonian is aging, yes, but his voice is eternal. In the twilight of his public life, David Rudder is not just remembered. He is revered. He is the heartbeat of a people, wrapped in melody, a walking chronicle, a griot of the global South. The Honorable David Michael Rudder, OCC, sang us through revolutions and recessions, through carnival and catastrophe. And though the music may one day stop, the echo will remain forever. I singing for the soul of the Caribbean, Rudder once said, and sing he did, for the soul, and from the soul, always.